What's up, you guys? It's your boy Miguel here to give you your daily dose of radiation. In today's video, we are covering the infamous stat X-ray orders. To give you context, I am a night shift X-ray tech. I've been doing it for over 4 years at a Trauma 3 ER hospital. So, regardless of where you work, stats. For those who do not know, in a hypothetical world and a true world, there's different kinds of orders. There's the routine, there's the scheduled, which is almost, that's mainly for the main, and then there's the high priority, and then there's the stat as far as ranking. And then always there's the trauma orders, we call it, where like a trauma comes in and it's like the truest highest level of stat where they're so busy working that they'll just call you up, hey, we need you in trauma 1 to shoot this or shoot that. We'll put in the orders later, and you just quick start it. So technically it would be like above the stat ish. That's what I would consider like the true highest level of stat is like those. But anyways, for most of y'all, stat exams, at this point, at the beginning of my career, I always thought like, oh, it's a stat, we gotta go do it now. And slowly you realize how they abuse the stat orders, both the physicians, both the nurses, both some stuff, especially overnight when there's only 2 of us. We have a little rule that we implemented to avoid having to run around the hospital over stat X-ray. Like, I understand they'll order some stuff and how my hospital work. If you want something read by our radiologist, it has to be ordered stat. It's like, cool. You're gonna cause a bunch of problems with our department, but if that's how it has to be done, fine, whatever. We just kind of accepted that. So then we implemented another filter where they would have to call us if they want it done after a certain time, like in the afternoon. Just like, because sometimes you'll go up there and they'll be like, hey, we need you on the west side at room, let's say 301 or whatever. And you go there and then you look at the order and it's like, patient, it says short of breath, and then the patient's just sleeping. And the patient's like doing semi-well, like not that bad. And then you're just like, this could have waited to overnight when it was like a morning portable. Like, we're just like leaving because we usually stay in the emergency room. So it's like, oh, well, we just left the emergency room for this. That could have waited. And that's like our biggest gripe we have with some of these people. Not even with the patient, because it's mainly with the people who order it, because it gets abused so much. Certain floors at the hospital, it's just understandable. Like the ICU, surgical ICU, the emergency room, like certain ones, like it's understandable. Like majority of times when they call over something, it's usually stat. Now sometimes it will be for like a feeding tube, NG tube, OG tube, and it's like, well, we'll get to it when we can. It's not gonna be like we won't leave it for morning portables, but if we're busy down here, we're not just gonna drop it to go up there. Now, we do have like stats that are called by like the house supervisor or rapid response. Those also considered, like, if they call, you gotta go. One of us has to go up there, because usually when we go up there, whoever's the patient is almost dying, or they're like we're from like stable to like they're finna be intubated. They have like pneumo. They have like something major going on that usually involves just a chest X-ray. Sometimes we have to do a KB, depending if by the time we get there they're already intubated and we're checking for the tube and stuff like that. But usually those are like pretty serious stuff like that. But it does get abused a lot, I would say. And in daytime, I mean, I work a lot of overtime, so I do dabble over there. The daytime crew sometimes will, because they play by, well, they have like different kind of rules, kind of. I don't know how to explain it, but they won't call them to let them know. Well, certain floors will, because they have to bring down the patient. Like if it's a cardiology and for pacemaker stuff, they'll call us. But some of the floors don't call, and then what happens is maybe day shift's busy downstairs, or our crew is notorious from they hate going upstairs, and I do too sometimes. I feel them, because like they'll go up there and then you come back down and it's like 5 more orders and you're like, well, I should have waited a little bit longer. But then what happens is some stats or whatever gets up there, and then the physicians, the nurse prac, whoever order it, start getting mad, and then there's a window. They start, filing reports, filing whatever about delay in stats. So it's always never a fine balance, but it does get abused tremendously. Now I know certain floors, like for instance NICU, majority of the times with my crew at night, if they order it, they will call, or even on the order it'll say we'll call when ready. And even sometimes we have them on our morning ports, and we have already kind of established with them that, hey, if it comes in on our morning ports, we'll try to be there at 5 a.m. Does that always happen? We do our best to accommodate. But once again, do we always? No, sometimes it'd be 5:30, sometimes it'd be 4:30. One time we were so slammed, we didn't make it there till 6, and they started to make a big deal about that. But it's like, well, and it's mainly just because it's more efficient for them, because it's the shift change, before shift change or whatever, no chaos, which it is a bunch of chaos, I would say, with them over there. But overall, for most places, stats get abused a lot, and I know in CAT scan it's worse over there. Sometimes stuff will like be just some regular order, and because you're taking too long, they change it to stat. Or even for our team, like the morning ports, if some doctor or some medical student forgot to put their morning port and they get there around 6:30 to 7 and it didn't get done, some of them, and I'm gonna just let you know, just so you can protect yourself and you pay attention, especially for the night shift, they'll put the order in and then somehow they'll backtrack the time to make it look like they did put it in. Cause like it'll be like 7:30 and then we look at the board to make sure, we took care of some stuff for the day shift, like any extra add-ons. And then there'll be one with like a 5 a.m. stamp, and you're like, nah, that's some whole ass shit. Like, how are you gonna switch the time order? Like, and it happens so much. And we'll be there. And then thank God that if you dig deep enough in the order, you can see the time they put it in. And that's the only thing that saves us half of the time when we negotiate with day shift, because sometimes it will be a bunch of orders. They'll switch it to the 5 a.m. timestamp. It used to happen rarely, but then with certain, and it's not even with the doctors, it's with like the student doctors, they'll do that a lot just to like cover their butts, but then it makes us look bad. And at first day shift didn't believe us, and that kind of got us into some issues like with like the days and the nights, and then the upper management started digging deep into it, and then they found out that it was happening, and then we established the problem, and it got better, but sometimes it still does happen, and that causes problems too. And that can be with stat or other orders like that. So always, like if you double check stuff, always make sure to put your notes. I mean, always keep an eye out for the timestamps. Certain places, I know they're very particular as far as like, this is a timestamp, this is time where I kind of want it. Other places, it all kind of depends on how stuff, works and how they operate. But for the most part, that's how most hospitals operate. And for certain places, you are timed by the time you move it over, or the time it got ordered, and by the time the image got done and fixed. So, like, put online. So keep that in mind. Our hospital's pretty chill most of the time. If they need it, they look at it, or they grab the physician and they look at it and they're like, cool. I know that certain doctors would rather look at them in their computer, you know, more like to see and magnify and do whatever more peacefully like that. So, as always, it's been your boy Miguel. Hope you enjoyed today's video. If you want some radiology humor, you can check the link below. If not, you can check out my channel. I post every day almost. And we'll see you on the next one.